Welcome back, everyone. I'm Raed Ahsan, and in this session, we are taking our ethical hacking skills to the next level. In the previous videos, we used Nmap and Wireshark to identify live hosts and scan open ports. But professional hackers don't just stop there. Once we know what's open, we start asking questions. And this process is called enumeration. It's the stage where we dig deep and extract usernames, shares, banners, versions, and services from the target system. In today's video, I'll show you exactly how hackers perform enumeration using real tools on a vulnerable machine. First of all, what is enumeration? Enumeration means interacting with the system and gathering detailed information that isn't visible on the surface. Think of it like talking directly to the target, asking it what users exist on your system, what shared folders are available, what services and software versions are running, and every answer gives us a potential attack vector. Now let's dive into the enumeration demo. First of all, we'll be starting with SMB, which is often used for file sharing. And hackers love this protocol because it leaks a lot of internal data if misconfigured. So the first tool we'll be using is enum for Linux. And the tag is simple, enum for Linux, tag A, followed by the target IP address. And this tool gives us everything from NetBIOS name, users, share, and OS information. Notice the output. It shows users like MSF admin, user, Postgres, and service. This is gold for brute force and privilege escalation later. Let's start with tool number 2, which is NBT scan. And the syntax is simple, NBT scan followed by the target IP address. NBT scan helps identify NetBIOS names and workgroups which are useful in Windows environments. Moving on to tool number 3, which is RPC client, and here you can see the syntax. Once you are connected, you can try two of the commands, which is enum dom users and query dom info. We are connecting anonymously using RPC and listing domain users. In real-world audits, this step often reveals valid usernames. Moving on to part 2, which is SMB share browsing. The tool we'll be using is SMB client, and the syntax is simple here. This shows available network shares, and if shares are public or misconfigured, you can access sensitive files without authentication. Coming to tool number 3, which is dirb, short for directory brute forcing, and its syntax is dirb followed by the target IP address URL. And dirb brute forces hidden directories. This helps us as hackers find apps like phpMyAdmin, DVWA as a vulnerable website which is made for testing your hacking skills, or Multilead. Moving to web enumeration, and Metasploitable runs several web applications. Let's enumerate them one by one. First tool we are going to use is whatweb. Whatweb syntax is whatweb followed by the URL of the target IP, and it detects web technologies, PHP version, Apache, etc., and also the web server information. And once you get the versions, it can be a possible way for you to identify what exploits might work on them. Moving on to the next tool we have is Nikto. Nikto followed by tag H and followed by the URL of the target. Nikto scans for outdated software, default files, and security misconfigurations. Moving on to FTP enumeration. FTP often allows anonymous logins, and let's check that on our Metasploitable target. First, we can write FTP followed by the target IP address. Then, when we are prompted to write the username and password, one of the fields we can try is writing anonymous there, either in the username or either in the password. If login works, we can explore the FTP directories without the needing to log in with legit usernames and password, because anonymous FTP login access is allowed here. Nmap NSE scripts for enumeration. Nmap has built-in scripts for enumeration, and here's a powerful one-liner. This uses Nmap's scripting engine to automate enumeration of SMB, HTTP, FTP, and many other protocols. Now you can see how enumeration gives us actionable intelligence, usernames, share, folders, and technologies. In a real penetration test, we use this info for the next step, vulnerability analysis and exploitation. Congratulations, you've just learned one of the most critical hacking stages, which is enumeration. Remember, enumeration bridges the gap between scanning and exploitation. Without this step, most attacks would fail. In the next video, we'll take this further, performing vulnerability assessment and exploitation using Metasploit frameworks. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and let's continue learning real offensive security the ethical way. I'm Raed Ahsan. See you in the next session.